All right, welcome back, everybody. My name is Corey Middleton, Associate Director of Housing and Residence Life, and this is Dorm Diaries at TCU. And of course, I had to bring in some of my greatest friends, the coolest people on campus, outside of me. You know what I'm saying?
We'll give that
members of the LSI office. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and then we'll talk about why their office is so important and how you can get involved.
Wonderful. Hi, I'm Kelly Lee. I am the Director of Student Activities.
Hi, my name is Riley Dunlap, and I am the Assistant Director for Student Activities, focusing on student organizations.
So why are y'all so cool? I'm just joking. No, I really do think if I could spend more time in this office, I definitely would, because this space is so nice, right? Like I do a little bit of moving around. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it looks much more cozier than this little set is. But my first question for you all is, what is this office? As a student, how does it serve them, and how can they, interface with your office?
Yeah, so the office that we are in is called Leadership and Student Involvement. It houses multiple different units within our overarching department of LSI. We are on the second floor of the Blue. And in our space, we pretty much get students connected and develop them as leaders, finding their interests or their passions, or finding if they're into Taylor Swift or they're into Harry Potter Club. Like, we find those little pieces. We even find if they want to do large programming, our concerts, our holidays at TCU events, we kind of connect them in this space. There's also opportunities to do service around our community and betterment to better Fort Worth.
Oh, yeah.
And so we have about 5 or 6 different departments in this space. And it's really easy to get involved. All of our events, activities, programs have opportunities for especially first-year students to come in and ask about them, apply for them, be a part of them. And so that's kind of the general gist of this space. We also have a team downstairs as well. So we're kind of split between 2 floors of the Blue. But within our spaces, we house our new student and family programs. So if any of you went to Frog Camp or orientation, which hopefully most of you did.
Oh, yeah. Frog Camp.
We house our office, so student activities. We do all of our large programming from family weekend to tree lighting. About to call you Carly. Sorry. Riley.
You could be Carly, just for this episode.
I wish I was Carly. I mean, I take that.
Riley oversees all of our student orgs. So we have about 300 right now.
Yeah, around 300 student organizations. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and she does all
counting. You can start one if you want.
I was gonna say, sometimes we flex all the time, and we
do.
We'll have a lot, I'm sure, coming in next year as well. And then we also house our leadership and exponential learning team, which does our community service, does leadership programming, and then as well as our service learning and academic initiatives, which does more of the academic side of service projects and things like that.
Should we call that Slay? Or is it called Slay?
You can call it Slay.
All right, there we go.
I like it.
Slay all day, Indeed. Gosh, I feel like that's a lot.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to.
You just gonna cut me off?
I am gonna cut you off.
I'm the host here. No, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. That is our second floor team. On our first floor of the Blue, we also have our student identity and engagement team.
Yes.
Which works with our students in the Chancellor Scholars Program, as well as some of our LGBTQ plus communities and our community scholars. And then also our student unions team. So they help run this whole building. And so if you are looking for a job, you can also work for the student union. They're always looking to hire and love bringing in new people. So, but we essentially, that's our team. There's so many people. Sorry.
Student Government Association is also housed in our office, and their office is downstairs as well.
Yes.
Dang. Okay. That might have just fried my brain a little bit.
So sorry.
A lot of people.
But I will run it back so I can get all of this stuff. Basically, it just sounds like y'all really do house and serve every single one of our students. No matter who you are, where you are, you can find yourself here.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
That's how I'm going to shrink that, right? That's what I'm taking away from that. All right. I also see you talked about concerts and stuff. I'm looking at a picture of Ludacris. And now I'm like, who is your favorite person that y'all have brung here?
He has seen a lot.
I was about to say, so I'm asking
Yeah.
you, like, who was the one where you were like, I'm so excited, I might be front row too?
So I have been here for 8 years as a professional, but then I also did my undergrad and grad school here. So I'm on like year 14 at this point. Um, and truthfully, we have brought so many great people. Like I have not had one bad experience with a talent.
Mm.
And that's from we book comedy to actors to concerts. And I've never had like an ungrateful artist. I've never had somebody who was rude or didn't enjoy being with our students. And I think that's really unique. I think it says a lot for our students because I think like the talent comes in very like surprised that like they're like, oh my God, this is great. Your students were amazing. But also I think it talks a lot about like the people that are asking to come to TCU.
Mm.
They know what they're coming in for. They know what they're gonna experience, and we've created that experience for not only the talent but also the students. I think one of my favorite concerts was for the 150th we did Kelsey Ballerini for
Oh, nice.
for our homecoming concert,
Mhm.
and she was amazing, and I loved her whole team. But I've really truthfully like I'm still in contact with some of my talent, and their agencies and their groups, and their teams that they work with, and I really enjoy being with them anytime I get to see them.
Dang, that's nice. I wasn't even working here one time, but I knew y'all were bringing Rick Ross, so I had to come up
Oh
to
yeah.
see my boy Rick Ross. And I swear, I pointed at him, he pointed at me too. It probably didn't happen, but
it
in my
did.
mind, it did. So
I think he did. I think he pointed at you.
I'll
Yeah.
take that to the bank, or at least I'm gonna continue to believe that, even if he didn't. So shout out to Rick Ross if you see this. So we know in housing, or at least I know this, but I think it's super important that like students should always be involved to a certain level, right? Like being too involved sometimes could be an issue, but I know that it leads to success, particularly for our first year students. So why do you think it is important for our first year students to be involved, and what timeline should they kind of adhere to as far as getting involved?
Yeah. I think that it's really important as a incoming student to just say yes, to learn new experiences, to try different things, because you never know what's going to stick. I think especially like in student organizations or leadership positions coming in, you might not expect you to really enjoy something and then you do. So I think just trying to say yes. And then I think really maybe at the end of your sophomore year, there's not really a real timeline, but going into your junior, senior year, have the things that you're really dedicated to of like, I've done this for these couple of years, or I want to continue to do these things, and really pouring into that specifically. So maybe making it a little bit less over that quantity over more of like the quality piece of getting involved, pouring into the things that you really have enjoyed over your first couple of years at TCU.
I think as a first year, we have a lot of opportunities too to find those spaces and to find those things. So, our office coordinates Frogs First, and it includes a lot of other departments. So, sorry, Frogs First is the welcome weekend, right before school starts. So it starts Thursday the 14th and goes until Saturday the 15th, and the 16th. I'm sorry, Sunday the 16th. But essentially, during that whole entire 4 or 5 days, we have different programs, different departments that come and showcase what they can provide for students. And this is specifically directed at first year students. So leadership opportunities, programs that you can apply for. Some of our departments are just there to show what services they can provide you and just to be assistants, especially in your first year. But then we also have Riley is in charge of coordinating our iFest,
Yes.
and I will let her explain what that is.
Yeah, so iFest is going to be super fun. It's actually at TCU's Campus Recreation Center, and right now I think we're at like 170 student organizations registered, so and counting.
Nice. And counting, right?
So there will be probably over 200 student organizations there that are there for you. They want to welcome, they want to meet the incoming students, share the really great, fun, creative organizations that they've created to have you all come and join and figure out, what you're interested in. And that's probably one of the best times to figure out all the different student organizations that we have, minus TCU Engage, which is an online platform that all of the organizations are a part of as well. But yeah, iFest is a really great way to just learn what is out there and to meet a bunch of new people. Even if you don't join that organization, there's a bunch of friendly faces that are wanting to welcome you on campus.
Okay, so you mentioned TCU Engage. So can you talk a little bit more about that? But also, are there any other like platforms that maybe students should be aware of, be downloading on their phones, bookmarking on their Google Chrome. I don't know if people still use Chrome. I might be a little old, but if you use a Mac, you use Safari. People use Safari.
I still use Chrome.
Okay,
I downloaded
thank you.
Chrome.
Appreciate
on
it.
my
You
Mac,
know,
so.
but what should they be bookmarking? What are those things that they should be using?
Yeah. Also, I love good bookmark. So easy.
Yeah, facts.
Accessible. Not talked about enough. Yeah, so with TCU Engage, I really like to consider it like a hub for all students, really, both if you are a part of the organization, kind of the back end logistics, but also just as a student. Like, you can find out what events are going on every single day. Not only just student organizations are putting on, but the crew, the end, and just departmental initiatives that are going on across campus, not even just pertaining to student affairs. So I highly, highly would recommend students always kind of be poking around, looking to see what is available. And if you're interested in running, you could even go to the search bar and type running to see what student organizations or what events are going on. So it really is a hub that any student, no matter if you're just an incoming student or a senior, you can look and see what's going on campus.
I think the other one too, we have What to Do at TCU, and it's a website that has all of our programs from different departments, from our academic side. Anything that's happening on campus is most likely going to be on What to Do at TCU or whattodotcu.edu. And that'll also be a place where you can get involved. You can see what events are happening on campus, whether it's an academic initiative or if it's our leadership learning or any of our service projects that all end up on that website. And so that's another great one to kind of bookmark. I'm trying to think of what else we have, where else we would kind of market stuff. We mostly use TCU Engage and What to Do, but then also our social media platforms.
Yeah,
so
just
all
about
of,
to say,
all of these are on social media. TCU Students is a great platform on Instagram and TikTok that showcase what students are doing on campus. And so, and the events that are coming up. So follow those. What to Do also has a Instagram. I'm trying to think of specifically for first year students. There we have our new student and family programs has an Instagram as well, in which they post stuff for Frogs First and orientation. So if you were really excited about those applications for those programs will most likely be released and announced on their Instagram. And then I think just general TCU, make sure you're following TCU's Instagram. Make sure you're following Housing's Instagram.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Housing and Rest Life. I'm going to drop
Let
that in
me
there.
just drop that in
I mean,
there.
this is about LSI, but if I can shameless plug.
Yeah, of
Shameless
course.
plug.
But yeah, I think all of our departments and offices have great things going on. And we've kind of tried to centralize it all into TCU students. But sometimes other departments have their separate Instagrams and TikToks, and make sure you're following all those because there's a lot of opportunities on campus. You can never be bored is what we strive for.
100%. That's one thing I will say about being here. You've been here for a while. I'm fairly new, right? Like, this is like my third day out here. No, I'm just joking.
Well, then she's
and then
even
you're like
newer.
brand new, but I've been other places and I do feel like there's so much happening that if you just really want to do something, you can do something.
Yeah.
There's never a lack of activities taking place. You mentioned going and searching running, which is something I would never do.
It's the first thing that came to my
I
head.
might search
Harry
walking.
Potter, anything.
You said Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
So if I get here, I'm a student. I come type in Taylor Swift. I'm not finding any Swifty things or Swifty adjacent things. I call myself Swifty adjacent. How might I go about? I have a hobby that I think other people might like it, and I want to start a club or a group or an organization. How do I do that?
That is a great question. Step one, go on to TCU Engage because you will find a form that says New Student Organization Interest Form. You'll fill out that form and then you'll get a contact from me. And so we are doing a little bit new of a process, but basically after fall break and after spring break, because it is a cohort style model that will happen each semester. And right now, I think we have like 12 other students that are also interested in starting a student organization
nice.
for the fall and counting. And so really what that is it is about an hour a week for 6 weeks. And then basically at the end, as long as everything looks good, you submitted all your documents, you feel good to go, and you get approved by a student organization committee, then you have a new student organization.
Wow.
So that is an opportunity that happens every semester. And I'm always here to answer any questions or walk students along the way. But we want this to be a very easy and accessible process to students that are looking to start a student organization.
For sure. No, that's dope. I always wish I could go back in time and start my own. I had like I did have a bunch of group of people doing stuff, but I'm like I should have just did it through my student org. But maybe it was a little bit harder back then. Who knows? I do have a question.
She's making it easy.
No, I'm
for
about to
people
say,
now.
yeah, shout out to you.
I'm trying. Thank you.
You've been here for a while, so you've seen a lot. But you know, this is your area too. What would you say is maybe right now like one of the more popular student orgs? Or obscure? Like which one is like, do you find like, oh, this is actually very interesting?
That's a great question.
Yeah, put them on the spot. They wasn't ready for this.
I think we've grown a lot, so I feel like there's a lot of new orgs coming in. But a lot of our like multicultural organizations are probably our most popular. I think it's because they find their home within their people, and they do these events that are like open to the public, so they can share their cultural experiences, their culture to other people, their food, and like I think those are one of our most successful and largest groups.
For sure.
Within student orgs on our side. But I'm trying to think of like what group. Somebody has a knitting club, which I think is wonderful because I tried to start knitting and then it didn't work out so well for me. But like I know people who are in that club that have like knit and I'm like, how? Props.
Yeah.
But like there's a great knitting community and I love that for them. But mostly because I can't
No, I was about to
Nor
say.
do I have
Hey, but
time.
you could.
But
Yeah,
I
but you
could.
could join the club.
Yeah.
I feel
it
like
out.
all I've been doing this summer is looking at these 200 to 300 plus student organizations. I don't know why this one really stood out to me. I just thought it was like a very creative idea of bringing two different things together. I think they actually just started the organization within the last year or so, but it's called Fishers of Men. And basically it's these, I think it's predominantly, are geared toward men, but the men they like to fish, and then they have a Bible study. So I think
that's
I think
cool.
it's just
I'll
cool that
rock
like
with
they
that,
combine
though.
they
together.
put two
Yeah,
different
yeah,
like
for
things that they
sure.
like, and then they found other students that obviously were
100%.
interested in doing that. But yeah, I mean, some of these student organizations are just so creative of like the different ways that they have a passion and then they find other people to join their passion and they get to go instill that either on campus or in the community.
Right.
So.
Oh, that's cool. Shout out to that group. I'm sure I got to go through the list of things because I'm so interested in seeing like what people enjoy and like, and then like what they create from that. So you have a really neat job. You do too. You know, I think we all have neat jobs, but I would be scrolling through all of the names.
You can.
All right,
Engage.
let's talk leadership.
Yeah.
One thing I know is that leadership is heavy here.
Yes.
Very much so on the forefront of a lot of things that we do and that our students do. So, how or what opportunities for leadership do students have in connecting with your office, or how can you help them become better leaders?
We have a lot of opportunities and things that they can do. I think truthfully, like if at any point in their 4 years here, they can come to our office and say, hey, I'm looking for a leadership opportunity. And we would be able to find something for them, whether it's a training, whether it's being a part of a group and being in a leadership team on that. We can definitely help them find their space and grow them as leaders. But first year specifically, we have a couple, I don't know if it's a program, a department or organization. I don't know. It's called Flows. So it's first year leadership opportunities. And we have 6 of them now. We used to only have 4. We only used to have 3. We just added 3 more. And each of those have different categories that they focus on or themes to them, I guess would be the better word. But there are 6 different groups that they can apply to. So the application is open now. So please feel free to apply. Essentially, our 6 flows, and I might forget one of the names because I'm going to name all of them. So there's Faithful Frogs, which focuses on your faith and bringing all different faiths together and having those meaningful conversations and developing leaders. There is Frog Aids, which is based on leadership development with a service component, but also just overarching leadership growth. Leaps, which is our women's focused leadership program, our leadership group that does, we're going to have to change that whole answer. Leaps is not that. Leaps is our service
With Brian.
with Brian. Leaps is our service flow. So sorry. And then Lead Now
Lead now.
is our women's focused leadership group based on growing women as leaders. And then we have
Rock Path.
Frog Path. There's one more. We have one more. It's LOL. Living Out Loud.
Living Out Loud. Yes. With
Living
Josh.
Out Loud. Living Out Loud. And so those are that was lots of jumbled words together. There are
A lot of
six
L's, a lot of M's.
Yes,
I'm about to
there are
say,
six of
leaps,
them.
frogs.
If you go look at the Flow application, they will
That's in
have
TCU
better
Engage.
descriptions. Yes, they have better descriptions of each one. But each program is wonderful, run by a great student team and a great staff member that will help them all develop as leaders in those programs. But then also we have different, our leadership and exponential learning team has a lot of different programs that they put on throughout the year that students can apply to be a part of and help them in growing their leadership that way. But also all of our like programming boards that we have in student activities, we all have leadership opportunities in those spaces. Whether you start as a volunteer and as for the crew, they're called croutons. You start as their volunteer level, but there's movement upward almost instantly into our mentors, into our director levels. And so those are always opportunities for them to do that. If there was also something like orientation or frog camp that they did over the summer that they were really excited about, those leadership opportunities will also start coming up at the beginning of the spring semester of their freshman year. And so, or first year, their first year. Yeah. And so those opportunities will also be available for them to be able to lead those students as they were led when they were a freshman coming in or first year coming in.
So it sounds like there's a lot of formal leadership opportunities, but also a lot of leadership opportunities that you don't have to be like in a formal leadership role.
Yeah.
Right. That's great. To be able to interface with a lot of different things. Also a very diverse group of leadership opportunities as well.
Yes.
So sheesh, there's
Well, and I should comment too that we have like service opportunities within the community, and there's opportunities in that too. I should mention because that's really important. We're trying to better Fort Worth because they take such good care of us. But there are opportunities in that too where they can take ownership over a site or take ownership over a group of people going to help work at a community service event or thing. And I think that's really important as well that we give back.
okay. Well, earlier I talked about how sometimes you can be a little bit too involved, right? But I'm gonna kind of spin that into a question about myths, right? So, like,
Myths,
what
okay.
myths do you think need to be busted about like student involvement, or what myth that when they come here they may hear from other people,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to say, let me dispel that a little bit or reframe that for you.
I think one of the myths is that you can't like that there's not anything going on there's nothing that interests me on campus. I think that's a myth. I think if you were to come into our space, even talking to like if you went into housing and said, hey, I don't know where to get connected, and you connected them back to us, like we would be able to find somewhere on campus for students to get connected and involved and grow as students, as leaders. And so I think the myth that like, I've been here for a semester and I still can't find what I want to do, or I can't find anybody that likes what I do. I don't think that is true. I think that it's just a little harder sometimes to find your people. But we're here to help with that. So I think that's one myth.
Yeah. So I'm going to go off that too, of thinking of I'm alone in this, or where do I begin? Because I'm sure it is overwhelming when you come to a campus. There, like we've talked about repeatedly, that there are so many things to do. But I think that if you use your resources of either your roommate or talking to other people or people that you meet in class or just other staff members of like, to get them connected of what you're interested in. I think there's so much, but if you break it down and maybe I want to be involved in student organizations, or maybe I want to join a fraternity or sorority or whatever that may be. And you can do multiple of those things. But I think just having an open mindset, but also being willing to ask for help. If you feel like you are kind of stuck there's too many things and I don't know where to start.
For sure. Yeah, I rock with both of those. I feel like I talk to a lot of students, especially in housing, where we might have a student who may be a little bit retracted in their space, and I just don't really know, like nobody here gets me or like understands me. And the first question I'm asking is like, well, who have you talked to? And often it's like, well, I haven't really got out of my room. And I'm like, well, that's where we're going to start first, right? Is we're going to start there. And then also that it's a journey, right? Like when if a student comes to your office, I wouldn't say rarely, but maybe you can answer this better than I can. But from what I understand from most people's journey is they come in here, they're going to interface with you all. And it may not be the first thing that you give them, suggestion that you give them, that's going to be the one that takes off.
Yeah.
It may be, hey, we're going to have to do iterations of this over and over and over. And then you'll find like the spot that is for you. But we have to test them out. We have to try them out, right? So I will do my job to continue to bring them here
Yeah.
as much as I can.
And I think that goes to your the whole myth of like being too involved and that piece. I think you have to try a lot. And to Riley's point earlier, like you can be a part of a lot of things when you first start in order to figure out what sticks with you, what you really find passionate, and then being able to be like, okay, I committed to as a first year, I also committed to like 20 orgs, and I realized I don't need to be a part of all 20. I enjoyed all of them, but there's like specific ones that I wanted to focus on, and so I think being willing to test them all out. It's a journey. It's figuring out what you like, what you wanted. Like maybe you never thought you could knit and you're like, I want to go to the knitting club just to see if I want to do it, if I find it interesting. Maybe that's what sticks. Who knows? But that like piece of you can get involved in as much as you want and then kind of pulling back after. It's not a negative to pull back from your involvement if you found your pieces that you really are passionate about. And so to go with your myth idea, but also to the like getting involved and journey piece is there's not a myth that says that you have to stay involved in what you're involved in. The myth, you do not have to, you are not in their 4 years, you are not stuck in any particular spot. And so knowing that it's okay to say yes to a whole bunch of things. And then it's okay to say, I'm going to pull back on these things because I like something specific or I found my place. And so I think some students get stuck that they have to stay involved in everything. And I'm like, it's okay. You can say no.
Yeah, for sure. That's a skill you got to learn as you mature, right? Is that like, I got to say no to some stuff. And sometimes it feels a little yucky, but it's
and when
okay.
your capacity is too full.
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
And learning when to say no, because that's hard.
Yeah, don't let your academics suffer, please.
Yeah,
okay, like we want you to be
to stay
involved.
here for the long term.
Yeah,
Okay?
100%.
We want to see you across the
okay?
stage.
1000%. If I can't be there in person, I'm gonna be watching it on the screen, but ain't gonna be there if you can't scale some stuff off, right? If it gets a little bit too daunting. So do y'all have any cool success stories? I'm sure you do. You can leave names out, but like stories of people who maybe came into your office and were looking for something and you helped them find that. It could be a different organization or they had a more personal leadership track. But
Yeah. I think there are so many. Like just I think any of our it's funny because one of our student orgs, the end, we call us the Island of Misfit Toys. Mostly because like all of us are from so many different backgrounds and so many different places. Some of us are in Greek, some of us are not in Greek. Like we're spread kind of across campus, but we all come together on Wednesdays and Fridays to produce shows and do fun things. And so I think that has been like one of my like big success stories is that's always been a place where even if a person comes, because our organization's open the whole year, so you don't have to apply or anything, you can just show up. But people will show up and they'll be like, I really haven't found my place like anywhere. And like maybe planning concerts is not your cup of tea, but the people in our group have been like so welcoming in that space that they learn to enjoy like just being around each other while doing work for the organization. And so I think I have a lot of students who have come and been like, I don't know what to get involved in. I said, well, let's start with a couple of our programs that we know are open all year round. So the End and the Crew, specifically in student activities. Let's start there. Let's see which one you vibe with. We've had students jump from between both orgs, depending on what their availability was or their interests. And so there's been a lot of students who have found homes in those spaces just because they are so different and just not as, it's more broad variety of events and activities and things and ideas rather than just like Taylor Swift Club or being like very specific to what they're focusing on. And so we've had a lot of students who've done that. I'm trying to think of like we have, I just had just so many people that we work with, but I think even in our student orgs piece, we've had students who have come in who've been like, I'm really interested in a religious organization, or I want to create this religious org. And we've been like, okay, like we're excited that you want to create this, but then we go, let's talk to our friends in religious and spiritual life,
Right.
because maybe there is already a group for you.
Mhm.
And a lot of them have found their homes in those spaces. And we've created like Fishers of Men, I
She's
think.
a man. I'm about to say.
I was gonna say, I think is overseen by RSL.
Uh-huh.
But that was like, they had a really unique interest point and they wanted that. And so they talked with like RSL to make sure that that was something that they could help oversee for them and help them as students build that group up. And so I think like things like that, anytime we have students go through our onboarding process for their new student orgs,
Mhm.
is so fun to watch because they are all so passionate about their specific areas. And sometimes we do have to connect them. Like we have some sports clubs that have to be connected to our wellness and rec center to make sure that they can do what they want to do.
Right.
We have like religious clubs that have to go to religious spiritual life to make sure that they are good. Some orgs that want to join FSL at some point and they have to start with us. Like they have to work through FSL first to make sure that they can be approved at some point. And I think seeing those students be so passionate about their orgs coming in, starting off, is like one of the best things ever, because they're creating something that they believe doesn't come on campus, and we're like,
Right.
okay, let's do it.
Right.
Let's find a way to make that happen. And so, I'm trying to think of like specific stories. A lot of our students though, just they come in here, they come and talk with like our leadership and exponential learning team. Or our new student family programs during the summer, and they kind of are like, I don't know where I'm gonna fit. And I think we've had so many success stories where like a lot of those are, they even work for our office as a student worker, or they've now are on their director boards for all of our different programs and things. And I just feel like that's all of these success stories come from those spaces and where they are now. And we just have a lot of them, and I can't pinpoint
Yeah. Just one.
anybody
of them.
specifically. I'm like, let me think about this. But I think it's really cool that we just have a lot of opportunities, and we see a lot of new faces in here because of that, because we have that opportunity for them to come in and be welcomed and be like, okay, let's figure it out. Let's help you out. And we never like hold on to people too long. Like we're like, if you want to go and be involved in housing, you want to be an RA, let's figure out how we're going to do that. How are we going to make you connected into that space? You don't need to be in here as much. Yeah, you can develop as a leader, but like, let's connect you to a hall director, to an area coordinator. Like, let's connect you somewhere on that side and that team, because we want to make sure our students are leaving as full leaders and with the knowledge base that they want. So,
Man, I just feel like that was magical. That entire like,
thanks.
it might not have been one story, but it I think it was really encompassing of like what a student really is going to encounter when they come in here, right? And you get some sort of transformation if they're really dedicated and being involved in interfacing. Okay. Are you ready? This is the biggest question.
Oh no.
It really is.
Let me prep myself.
I like to set things up and then like it not even be a big question at all. But maybe it is. One of my favorite, I guess, traditions here is Carols by Candlelight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've only been to it once, but like I'm never gonna miss it again, right? Like it was incredible.
So good.
So my question is, what is one event that every student should attend before they graduate?
Whoa. Okay, so my biggest event, my favorite event is our tree lighting. Yeah,
He was back there like
that's
tree lighting.
That's what you need to go to it at least once, hopefully in your 4 years, or all four, either one. We do have, so our tree lighting has also been like encompassed with the Fort Worth community, and so we have a lot of Fort Worth community people who come back. Alumni come back for the tree lighting a lot, and so our tree lighting is just an encompassment of excitement and honoring the fact that our students have made it through the fall semester.
Right.
It's a celebration. It's bringing joy and hopefully amping up students getting ready for finals. The last 2 years, it has ended up being the Tuesday before dead days and before finals week. So it's kind of like a celebration. Like, you've made it, you're here. Like, ended on a good note with your finals the next week. And so I think it's turned into a celebration. And we're celebrating Christmas as well, and like
Right.
all of the holidays. We've actually turned it into, so tree lighting happens on a Tuesday, but we've worked with different partners across campus to make that week like a holidays at TCU type feel, and doing different activities throughout that whole week that kind of encompass different religions and different groups that maybe don't celebrate Christmas, but that's still a time of joy and celebration. And so how do we encompass all of those things in so that everyone feels like it's a celebration for all of them?
Right.
But my favorite statement that a student made about the tree lighting was, they said, do they go, oh, do you go? Somebody asked them, do you go to tree lighting? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, but you don't celebrate, like Christmas is not like your holiday. And they're like, tree lighting to me is not Christmas. Tree lighting to me is a celebration of the holidays and a celebration of TCU, saying like, we're happy you're here. We're excited that you made it through the fall semester. It's more of a unity of community rather than specifically
Celebration
a
of Christmas
holiday.
or something. Yeah.
And I love that, because I think that's what we really should strive for. We want that to be, as much as it is like we have Super Frog Santa and we have Santa and all of these opportunities, we also want it to be a point where students can come together with their communities and just enjoy some fireworks, the tree, like take some photos. And I think it's just magical at that time. And snow. We make it snow.
Yeah, purple snow. That would be cool, right? How do we? I'm about to say, how do we get that like wrapped into this year's budget? That would be cool.
To those bubbles.
For sure. Or maybe you just get like lights, right? Like, and then you blast the purple lights into the snow, and then it makes it look purple. I don't know.
Could be. That's a good idea.
You have been here for a little bit, so my question maybe for you is more so like, maybe what are you excited to experience?
Yeah. I think definitely tree lighting, but something else that maybe isn't as talked about, again, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm super excited for, is late night breakfast, which actually happens very soon after tree lighting. And what's in my head, how it's been explained to me is that it sounds like a really cool opportunity of like building community, but also just like knowing you're not alone, because late night breakfast is really to be like, okay, finals are happening or about to happen. And so it's like, let's build some camaraderie, some spirit. All of us are in this together. Have a pancake, have some orange juice, here's some fueling food for you. And so I think that's like another really great, cool, unique opportunity to come together whenever there's a lot of high emotions, and a good way to end the semester strong, with a pancake in hand, and, just making sure that knowing that there's other people and there's community supporting you around you, and you're so close to that.
For sure.
That winter break.
No, late night breakfast is dope. Also, our students really do love pancakes. I will tell you that.
As they should.
A lot of our events in our halls feature pancakes. And I'm a pancake lover too, so I'm with it. Some people are like, I like waffles. I like them both, but I'm a pancake guy, so I understand it. What do you think is the most underrated involvement opportunity here? Yeah, stumped. Oh, yeah. we have an honorable mention for yearbook.
It is a great program to get involved in. Sorry, we have the space is very community based. There's a lot of people walking behind the camera, throwing in.
Do you wanna come give a drop, Mallory?
No. Abandoned us.
She's busy.
Okay, bye.
I'm gonna throw in yearbook for her though. She
Yes.
said yearbook, so I'm throwing in yearbook for her.
I think one of the programs that I love is so Leaps, which is one of our first year, one of our flows. They are also part of they also help and assist with our day of service. And it's a day that all of TCU is invited to come and go out into the community of Fort Worth and help either paint murals, clean up trash, make food at the food bank, or not make food, put together lunches at the food bank. I would not trust myself to make a whole bunch of food for people. But I think that that's one of our events that is like, it's a lot of people go to it, but it's also not talked about as much. And I think it's a really great program that we do to give back to the Fort Worth community. And I think a lot of friends, like getting your group together and doing something like that is really fulfilling.
For sure.
And so I think that's one of our probably more underrated or not talked about as much programs.
Okay. Thoughts? You're like, I can't rate yet.
You're like, I
Like,
haven't
I can't rate
experienced
yet,
it yet.
you know?
I'm
But,
like, I don't
but I'll
quite
let you know next year.
Yeah, I don't quite know. I'll be back.
Well, you can answer this then. This will be my
Okay.
last question for you, which is, what is the vibe that you want students to feel when they walk into the space?
You're the welcoming committee, so
Yeah, me and Carly. Yeah, I think that was probably the first word that comes is just welcome. We actually, as I'm right next to the door, I hear students oftentimes come and be like, "What is this place?" And we have the lovely Miss Jeanette just there smiling, welcoming them, and letting them know what we are, who's in this space. And then from there, really honestly, sometimes they get an office tour, sometimes they get directed to someone specific. But I think just like welcomed. And to know that no matter if they mean to come on this, come into this office or not, that they are welcome here and that they will find where they need to go, whether it's actually in this space to an individual or elsewhere.
For sure. All right. Well, y'all have been a wonderful podcast guests.
Thanks for having us.
We should do this weekly, you know?
Come on.
Oh, let's
And I
do
feel
it.
like we've mentioned Taylor
Bring it
Swift a
set
bunch
up.
of times, so like we should have
We
like a
should
whole
totally.
episode about Taylor Swift for sure. But in the meantime, I will let you all go and let everybody else go. This has been another episode, so please come back next time.